Being a single mom and doing it all by yourself is brutal. Learn the brain and energy tools to get back to your center and overcome your challenges. Welcome to Single Moms Doing It All. This is your host, Muriel Felous. Today's episode is the one to catch up. I don't know if you remember or if you were ever a fan of the series Friends, but they had many episodes, titles that started with The One. So I was reminded of that not so long ago, and I thought it would be a fun way to name today's episode because I've been absent from my podcast for at least 2 weeks. And today's the day that I'm going to let you know why. I'm going to tell you what's happening, as well as one thing that I realized that I needed to stay away from and that you may also want to stay away from in your life. So what's happening? I mentioned in this podcast in the past that I am preparing an international move. And at the beginning, my son was coming, my oldest daughter, who's 23 years old, was coming, and we were trying to persuade my middle daughter to come also. We actually got to a point where she agreed to come and stayed 6 months to see if she liked it or not. Well, I put everything in motion. I sent my stuff. I really put everything in motion. And my oldest daughter decided to change her mind because suddenly she was afraid that she had to go to another country, to Israel, and learn in another language. Although she speaks Hebrew, she doesn't speak an academic Hebrew yet. And she was afraid that, logically so, that doing her master's in another language would be much harder than doing it in her own language. So, needless to say, it came to me as a shock. And at the beginning, I was kind of frustrated because we talked about her coming for several months. And suddenly she did a 180 after she was talking with her friends. And I think she's the most adventurous of all of them. So they really made her fear even more obvious. So I had to deal with that on an emotional level, and that wasn't easy. On one side, I want my kids to spread their wings. I raise them to go for their dreams and not live a limited life, really believe in what they want to do, really be free and open to all possibilities. On another side, I am a mother, and like every mother, I would love to have my entire family around me where I can see my grandkids to come anytime I want, etc., etc. So I found myself divided in two. On one side, I'm very proud about the fact that they dare to dream and take action towards their dream because they have big dreams, and especially Amy is really directed now by her vision, and my other daughter has just several visions that she needs to pick from. And on the other hand, I was heartbroken. So I found myself, depending on the days, sharing, entertaining thoughts that were either on one side or the other. And even forgetting that at the beginning I made that decision for 2 reasons. For me, because I was feeling the pull that Israel had on my heart right now. I lived there for 10 years, a long time ago. I came to the US and I love the US. I mean, I've been here for 20 years. And it was just calling me back. And I was at a time in my life where I thought that everybody would come to me, so that was the perfect timing. And the other reason that I thought it would be such a great move is because I didn't particularly see that my son was flourishing in the milieu where he was growing up here in Las Vegas. And I'll share a lot of the challenges that happened this year that even solidified my decision. So I had really good reasons, logical reasons, heart reasons, but it became very difficult to navigate on a day-to-day basis with my thoughts. And I don't know if you've ever moved. I'm sure you've moved in your life. So when we're moving, it's already complicated because you always have to get rid of stuff, decide what you're going to take, what you're not going to take. And when you move from one country to the other side of the world, you have to be really clear on what is worth it for you to take, because it's very, very expensive. So I decided that all the furniture wasn't valuable enough for me to really invest in transporting it, and I am getting rid of it slowly. I went through my closet and did the same thing with my clothes. I did really minimalized. And I felt like, in Sophie's Choice, when you had to get rid of some stuff that you are so attached to. But in a way, if you imagine yourself living without for a year or two, you would be totally fine. So that's how I decided to really categorize what I was taking and what I was leaving. Also taking stuff that maybe are more affordable here than there, etc., etc. But what I found is that regarding my thoughts about my family, I had to really catch up myself in two ways. The first way is thinking permanently, thinking like life is set in stone. I realized that if I wanted, when my business will be financially flourishing enough, prosperous enough, I could live in both countries. I could totally do that because my business is built to be mobile. So nothing is really finite. And my daughters never said that they wouldn't come either. So maybe they're going to come later. So that was one thing. Like, don't stop thinking that that's it, it's set in stone, it's not going to change. The other thing is thinking about what makes you sad. Thinking about the fact that I'm going to be away from them instead of focusing my attention on the fact that they're flourishing and that I have done a good job as a mom because they are totally independent, able to stand on their own feet, having their own dreams and having a vision for their life, and even having me excited for their vision. So where do I put my attention? It's totally my decision, and based on this decision, my emotional state would follow, because your emotional state is really just a decision. Unless you're facing something in front of you that is so hard that your attention needs to be there, or that it's really recent, so there is still the shock factor, there is no need to go and entertain thoughts that put you in an emotional state that doesn't make you happy. So I really wanted to share that today, apart from the fact that I wanted you to know where I am, what's going on with me. And don't worry, we are connected online, so that won't change. And also share those two really points of awareness and points of power to make the decision that would really put me in an emotional state that will serve me instead of the opposite. So that's a very short episode. There will be a bonus episode at the end of the week because since we're still in the COVID pandemic, I want to give you hope that there are many things that maybe you didn't have the time to do before that you can do now because you're at home. And my bonus episode is about a single mom who really went for her dream and accomplished it. So why not you? I always want to inspire you. So that's it for this week. And I'll see you next week with another regular episode. And I wish you a wonderful end of the week. Bye for now.